Okay, everybody, check it out. Teacher Jacob here, and I'm going to be showing you how we can, um, George, use Zoom as a teacher. Now, I'm using Zoom from my MacBook Pro. So some of the settings may look different for you on your PC, and we'll have Teacher Dorn go over the PC options in the second half of the video. But we'll run through everything at once. So we're going to start down here in the bottom left corner. You can see if you're speaking and you're allowed, you can see that your mic is moving. Participants should be able to hear you. You can mute yourself. Now, the participants can't hear me. You can still hear me in this video because of how I'm recording. Okay, so and there are some audio options. If you want to play around with these, you can, but the default settings should be enough for you as long as you have a working microphone. You can also stop your video, and then you have no video, or you can even do some virtual backgrounds, which are fun to use if they are appropriate for your lesson. Otherwise, just use your basic video is fine. Next up is our security options down here. Now there are a lot of different security options. Lock the meeting, enable a waiting room. You can allow participants to share the screen, chat, and rename themselves. So one of the things when it comes to chatting, since that's what's being mentioned here, they can whisper each other, which could be distracting, so you may want to turn chat off. Or maybe you want to turn chat on just when you want them to give you a response. Hey, here's some multiple choice questions. Which one do you think it is? And then they can all put in the chat A, B, C, D, something like that. But that is up to you as a teacher. Renaming themselves, we want our students to name themselves in a very specific way. So I'm going to go ahead and give instructions to my couple students that are here right now. Could you please rename yourselves as M3/1 and then a student number and then your nickname? So that's going to look something like this. I will rename myself as well. I'll rename myself, so we're going to do 3/1, then put a hyphen, a dash, and then we're going to say I'm student 7, so 07, because it's two dots, and then my nickname will be Jake. Okay, so I've renamed myself as if I'm a student, and I would like all my other students to do that as well. One thing I noticed, student number, massive, huge, should be only 2 digits, thank you, Killer. So, one thing is Killer has his hand raised, so I'm going to mention this right now. I can click on him individually and lower his hand. Right? The students can choose to raise their hand. You can also instruct students to raise their hand to let you know that they are ready. So he's raised his hand again, right? So maybe he has a question. Let's unmute him. What's up, Killer?
I'm just trying to be a troublemaker, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Very good. We're going to mute him again. Okay, so I have control of muting because in my options here, I say I do not have participants to be allowed to unmute themselves. But I've also mute them on entry, so if more students come in late, they will be silent automatically. This is an option for you to choose. I do not have it play a chime. I think that's distracting. Allowing participants to rename themselves is good so that you can have them be the name that you want, but once you get them to that name, you may want to uncheck that box so they don't create stupid, silly names, renaming themselves throughout the class. We want them to stay focused. Okay? Locking the meeting is going to make it to where no one else can join the meeting. So if you have a rule that you can join the class for the first 10 minutes, and then maybe you want to go lock the meeting after 10 minutes. You can also have enable a waiting room, so that means you have to allow them to come into the classroom before. So they will go to the waiting room, and then you can click allow or deny. Right? But since we are going to have a private code to get into all of our classrooms, I personally will not have a waiting room. I want my students to get in. I don't want that extra step. But if you feel it's better for your classroom, by all means, enable a waiting room. Okay. So these panels are available because of the participants and the chat boxes here. So I've unchecked them. They are gone. But I can click them again, and they open up. Here's all my participants. Here's my chat. If I want to look at just one, not the other, I can kind of switch around like this. The next option is share screen. Sharing screen is how you're going to show them your lesson. Most likely it's going to be in a Google slide or a PowerPoint presentation. So really easy. You have a couple different options here. Multiple participants can share screens simultaneously. This will most likely not be necessary for our teaching lessons, but if you want to do that, you can. There are advanced sharing options. If you want to explore those on your own, you can. But if we click share screen, it's going to give me all the different windows and options that I have open on my computer. Which screen do I want to share? Well, I'm going to go ahead and click on my Google Chrome classwork as an example here. So here I'm in a lesson, right? And if I wanted to share my slides, I can click into my Google Slides, go ahead and click present, and now we have a full screen of the presentation. Students can annotate, right? So there's all these different options, and you as well can annotate. You have your mouse, we have an option, select text. You can type a text box, hi everyone, right? You can draw lines of different thicknesses, boxes, arrows, right? And then your color is going to be in this format over here, depending on what it is. Students also can draw, so you can see he's stamping his arrow. They can stamp check marks, hearts. Things can get out of hand if you do not have control over your students and they like to draw a lot, right? So one of the things you can do is you can just clear all my drawings, all my drawings, or all viewers' drawings to have control if they're getting out of control. But the other option is you have up here, let's clear that, we have security. So you can lock the meeting once again, enable the waiting room, but in the share screen you have annotate shared content. You can uncheck this box and students can now no longer draw on your screen. This is very important. The other thing is if they've already drawn, and you want to make sure you go and clear all drawings so you have control over that, okay? You can also pull up your participants list while you're sharing your screen. This will give you an idea of who's doing what if you want to see who's raising their hands. They're also visible in the camera box here. There's a couple different ways. I like keeping it just the one small, or even as I'm teaching, I'm just going to leave it with just the who's talking. You can also have a list so you can see who is. You can put it at the top so it's sideways. You can put it at the side here. Who all is in the class. And as you get more, there's another option which gives you a grid option. Okay, but I'm going to keep that minimized for myself. Okay, so that's kind of some of the basics to keep control over your classroom while you're sharing your screen. You can also do new share if you want to switch windows, if you have things prepared. So let's say I want to show this folder here. I can switch really quickly. That's one nice thing to do. You can pause your share. So now I can still see my screen, but the students are not seeing my screen. Okay, that's another nice little option. And you can resume share if you want to do some things like that. And then down here, and there's more. We have our chat. We can see the chat room. We have people asking questions. You need to put a dummy in a share. Okay, thanks. So if you want to be able to see that, you can just close your chat if you don't think that's necessary. You can record on this computer, which is something you're going to want to do. You're going to want to record all your classes, so we'll go ahead and stop share so we can talk about that option, because that's next, record. You do want to record your classes so that students who don't come to the class can watch the lesson, okay? You want to make sure that you do this at the beginning of your class, and if you've scheduled your class with the schedule option, which I showed you before, there was a checkbox option to where it will automatically record your meeting when you start it, so that way you don't have to worry about it. It'll be saved locally on your computer, and then you can then upload that to your Google Drive, giving your students access to that so they can come back and see the class. Other option down here is reactions. You can just have them applaud or give a thumbs up. Kind of just a fun little way of having some engagement there with your students. Okay, that is about it. We have this more options. I went through that already. It's going to look different on the PC. I think it's going to be a few dots, something like that. You have your different views. Gallery view, you can see everybody at once, as opposed to a speaker view where you see the speaker. Now, since I am the host, I don't get to see myself. I just see the next person on the list who's got his video active. Everyone else doesn't have their video active. Okay, so that is the basic rundown of how you navigate through Zoom as a teacher, right? As a student, let me go ahead and give Killer George over here, I'm going to make him the host. So I'm going to change host. So now I am a student. So you see a lot of the security options are gone. I don't have a lot of options, but I do still have the option, now I have the option to raise my hand. It's just a little button. Raise my hand, I can lower my hand. So if as a student I want to ask a question, I can raise my hand there. The other thing is I can ask to share the screen, but the host has disabled attendee from sharing screen. But if the host wants to allow us, they can go back into that security, make it allowed, and then when I share screen, the host will say, yes, you can share your screen. And then I can say, hey, classmates, here's what I worked on, if you want them to present work that they've done. Okay?
You can now share your screen, Jacob.
Okay, so now, once again, I have the option to share my screen as a student. But once again, it's very important that as the teacher, you maintain control of your classroom. And that is the whole purpose of this video, is so that you understand what options you have to give your students control or to take it away from them, so you maintain in control of your students. Okay, I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions that we didn't cover, leave them in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe. All right, and we'll see you on the next video.